This happened several years ago. I won't go into a ton of detail because Google exists and I don't want to point a big arrow to where it happened by saying too much. I had worked at a big pizza chain for almost a year at this point, so I was aware of a lot of the dangers of the job. Robberies, drunken morons, naked people, etc. But this instance really made it sink in. A girl had been reported missing in our area under suspicious circumstances. It was a big deal in a relatively small town where things like that don't happen super frequently. It was all over the news. Billboards were being put up. The whole shebang. We had state cops, other county cops, and federal investigators all in town to help. A few weeks after the initial report, they announced an arrest. They had the guy dead to rights, no question that he was the one who did it. When I got to work that day, someone asked me if I had seen the announcement. I hadn't yet, so I pulled up the news article on my phone. Holy shit, I know that name. I know that address. I know that face. A month or so prior I had delivered to this guy. His apartment complex was a few blocks down the road. To add to the creep factor, this dude lived in a complex with several buildings, where each one had a locked door to get into the building. It's full of young kids that are almost always drunk and ignorant when they order, and I'd had issues there before. Due to that, I made a point to always have customers come and meet me at the main door, as opposed to being buzzed in and going to their unit door. Usually it wasn't a huge deal, but this dude really tried to press the issue and had several excuses as to why he couldn't come down and why I needed to come up. Each one was met with, "Company policy doesn't allow me to do that," until he finally caved and came down. He was less than enthused, but paid for his pizza and I went about my way. As a female, and given that this happened within a few weeks of him kidnapping and killing the other girl, I am so immensely grateful for all the drunken morons that caused me to stop going inside of the buildings at this complex. I deliver for an independent pizza place, and I technically work off the books. Tonight went as well as any Thursday night. Pretty slow, but not bad. It was about 20 minutes before closing when we got an order from a pretty seedy area of Newark. I almost told them we don't deliver there, but I wasn't having a stellar night and I have car repairs to do, so I'll take it. I took a different order to a different part of Newark and then started to head over to this place. I've been here before, so I knew what the apartment building was like. I left my wallet in the car and locked it before heading to the front door of this slum. Two guys walked up the stairs past me as I called the number on the ticket and told them to meet me outside. The front door to the building was left open and I can see inside. These two guys are standing outside of an apartment and they're just talking about whatever. My sketchy meter is starting to tick. I kept calling, but the call kept getting sent to voicemail. On the fourth call, a lady picks up right away. I tell her I'm out front, and the lady says that her husband will be right down. My eyes stay on these two guys. They both have winter jackets on, and I see them pull up their collars and their hoods. At this point, I'm very nervous, but I just assume I'm overreacting. They walk towards me, and I step aside as they go down the stoop of the apartment building, still talking the entire time. The man comes out of the apartment that these two guys were standing in front of, and I give him the credit card slip and a pen to sign. He signs it, and I give him the food. As he's signing, he's talking with the two guys. It seems like they all know each other. Whatever, I thought to myself. I walk down the stoop and start walking towards my car. These guys start walking behind me and talking to me. At this point, I'm on adrenaline mode. But it's not uncommon for people to just want to talk, especially in bad neighborhoods. They ask me things like, "This is Domino's, right?" "No, sir, this is Pizza Place X." At this point, I know I have a problem. Then one of the guys says, "Hey man, step over here from me." "I'm not doing that, man." Then he says, "I'ma fucking shoot you, man." I see this man with his hands in his gray winter jacket, and I guess he's bluffing. "No, you're not," I say. "I'm at my car door now, and these guys are closing in on me. There's nowhere I could run, and I know that these guys would catch me because I'm not very fit, so that's out of the question." "Just give us your money, man." "I don't have any, sorry." "Yeah? How'd he just pay you then?" So I show him the credit card receipts, and they aren't buying it. So I empty my pockets, and I had a couple of pens and my phone. No money. "Give me your phone." I open the phone and open up the dialer. I say, "We're not doing this." At this point I can't remember a lot of what happened, but I kept firmly saying that it's not happening. There were more threats of messing me up, but I reach in my pocket and unlock my car with my keys. I try and open the door, but they start to push it close again. I jerk it open hard and slam it, and I lock it immediately. One of the guys had run to the other side of the car and tried to open the door, but it was locked. I turned my car on and gassed off. I've been driving with DoorDash for about a month, and I drive mostly at night. Last night I got an order to be dropped up in a sketchy part of town, and could not find the address. I texted the customer and he was less than helpful. He was being really condescending and seemed more interested in messing with me than in me delivering his food. After several texts back and forth, I decided if this guy didn't want to help me find his place, then there was nothing else I could do but leave. I called DoorDash support and was put on hold, so they weren't helping either. When I texted him that I was leaving, he got pissed off and started calling me names and swearing at me. He said he was coming outside to find me, but after him texting me all of that, I didn't feel safe at all. A $6 hamburger was not worth it. As I started to drive away, a white SUV got right behind me. It was weird because I was in a really dark neighborhood with no one around, and this car seemed to appear out of nowhere. I started driving back to a busy part of the city, and the white SUV was still behind me. I prayed I was just being paranoid. Was this the guy I had just had this weird interaction with? I lost the SUV in traffic, but felt sketched out. I was still on hold with DoorDash support, and they were still not answering. I was now in a different part of the city, and this white SUV is behind me again. At this point I really started to panic. I've been followed by a stranger before, so the chances of me just being paranoid were pretty high. But how would I be able to shake this car off in traffic, just for them to find me again? It didn't make sense. I lost them in traffic again. And then it hit me. Fuck, I'm still on the DoorDash app, and I'm still connected to this order. If this is actually happening and I'm being followed, this guy can see exactly where I am on the map. I pulled into a grocery store parking lot and called DoorDash support again, but choose the emergency option this time. After a few minutes, they finally answered. I'm talking to support and explaining what had happened, when I look across the parking lot and see this white SUV. It pulled into the adjoining lot with its lights facing me. Then it backs out and starts driving to the lot where I'm sitting. I kind of lost it at that point. I'm glad there weren't any pedestrians around because I floored it out of that parking lot. I was begging DoorDash support to disconnect it from that order. The app wouldn't let me do it from my end. The support guy finally got the order removed just as I saw the SUV get behind me again. Fuck! He followed me through the neighborhood until I lost him in traffic yet again. Once I was sure no one was behind me, I drove to another busy parking lot where I sat in my car and cried. Now it's the next morning and my head is reeling. Calling the cops at this point seems futile. DoorDash hasn't called me to see if I'm okay or even alive. Should DoorDash do more to protect drivers? Should I have done something differently? Well, I'm definitely not going to be driving at night anymore.